Ladies and gentlemen, today's topic is single entry, or you can call it accounting for incomplete records. This topic is very important because you can use the tools of single entry to calculate profit and losses when there are missing figures. To understand single entry well, we need to know what is double entry. For that, I've already prepared two videos on basic accounting where I've explained double entry in detail. In a nutshell, double entry is when we record both the aspects of a transaction. For example, if cash is coming in, why it is coming in, what is the source? It could be capital, it could be a new loan. Or if cash is going out, why is it going out? Are we purchasing furniture, or we are making a repayment of loan, or we are buying goods? So under double entry system, we record both the aspects of transactions. But under single entry, we only record one aspect of the transaction. Guys, I'm the commerce specialist. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you'll find videos covering learning outcomes of various academic qualifications and professional certification, including life-changing business ideas and concepts. So let's begin with the topic. What I've done here is these are some transaction recorded on double entry system. So if you look at the first one, it says cash debit, capital credit. Debit to cash means increase in asset. Cash is coming in. Why? Because it's an investment. From where cash came in, why cash is increasing, what is happening? Because it's an investment. If you look at the second one, furniture debit, cash credit. Cash is going out. Why is it going out? Why asset is decreasing? Because we are buying furniture. If you look at the third one, purchases debit, cash credit. Cash is decreasing as a result of goods being purchased. Cash coming in, increase in asset as a result of goods being sold. Cash credit means cash is going out. Why? Because we have paid expense. So if transactions are recorded on a double entry system, debit and credit both, it is very easy to calculate profit like this. I know the sales here, very simple. I can take sales, 350,000. I have purchases here. If there is no opening or closing inventory, purchases becomes cost of goods sold. Okay, please remember this, which is 250,000. So I subtract, I get gross profit, which is 100,000. So 100,000 of gross profit, less expenses. The only expense I have is rent. So rent expense, which is 30,000. I end up making a profit of 70,000. But you know what? This was only easy when accounting was done on a double entry system. I know sales, I know purchases. You should understand that there are many people who are doing businesses. All of them are not accountant. Neither all of them have the privilege to hire accountant, or they can afford to hire accountant. So they do accounting and record keeping the way they like, the way they know. Let's say like this. Maybe they only record cash coming in and going out. So if you record in the first entry, cash is coming in, how much? 400,000. In the second entry, cash is going out 20,000. This much a non-accountant can also record. Cash is going out again 250,000. And cash is coming in 350. And finally, in the fifth one, it's going out with 30,000. So a non-accountant can at least record all cash coming in one side of the page, all cash going out on the other side of the page. Something like this. All cash coming in, cash going out. But if data is given like this, you can only calculate the cash balance which is left at the end of the month or the end of the year. Here I wouldn't know whether this figure is for sales or this figure is for sales. Here I don't know out of these three which figure is for purchases, which is for expense. Why? Because double entry was not maintained. I hope you've understood my point. Still, there are businesses who need to calculate profit and loss in the absence of sales, in the absence of purchases, in the absence of expenses. Then what to do? So now I'm going to give you a very small example. It's a real one, by the way. It's not a created one, where you will understand the application of single entry concepts. Once I was invited to my friend's office. There were two friends of mine who were running business as a partnership. They were not accountants, but they were doing business, and they decided to close down their business. So they asked me to calculate profit and losses for them, so that they can get their respective share of profit and loss. So I requested them to provide me the accounting records the information so that I can calculate profit and loss. I asked them about sales, purchases, expenses. They started looking at each other. They said, look, we are good friends. We trust each other. We have not maintained any records. And now they want me to calculate profit for them. They were running business for the last 3 years and they want me to calculate profit in the absence of any information. So the very first question I asked them is this. And you would agree, if you have done a business, or if you know anybody who is running a business, or if they've done business before, they always remember how much they started off with. Even if you have done a business, you would know how much you invested for the very first time when you started your business. So I asked them, okay, if you don't remember anything, at least tell me how much did you guys invested when you started the business. They said we invested 100,000 each. So their capital at start was 200,000. Then what I did, I used basic accounting equation. Assets equal liabilities plus capital. So from assets, if I minus liabilities, I'll get capital. So what I did, I started looking around. I asked them about their cash balance or their bank balance, about the furniture they had, the equipment they had. I calculated, I summed up all the current assets, all the non-current assets. I subtracted their current and long-term liabilities. So from total assets, I subtracted their total liabilities. I arrived at their capital as of that day, which is capital at end, which came to this much. Capital at end, say 400,000. So I asked them, do you have any other information? Can you recall something? They said no. So I told them, in the absence of any other information, your profit so far is 200,000. This is common sense. They started business with 200,000. Now they have 400. If nothing else happened, that means they made a profit. Went to their office the next day. I asked them, do you remember anything? One of them said, yes, I remember. 6 months back, it was my brother's wedding, so I withdrew some money from the business. I asked him how much. He said 50,000. So you see what I did. I said, add drawings. So I told them, your actual profit is actually 250,000. So what I did, I added drawings in order to arrive at a figure, the actual profit before drawings. So the actual profit before drawings was 250,000. While I was discussing all this with them, the other friend says, yes, I also remember that, last year we were in difficulty, so I injected a further amount, further capital into the business. I asked him how much. He said 25,000. So I said, okay, let's subtract that then. Less additional investment, 25. Now I tell you why I subtracted this. So I told them your profit is 225. Why I subtracted additional investment is, look, profit is what you earn from outsiders, from your customers. You can't take your investment as your profit. For example, if I start a business on January 1st with 100,000, January 1st, 100,000. After 3 months, I invest 20,000 more. So after 3 months, how much is my capital? It's 120, but that does not mean I made a profit of 20,000. What you invest is not your profit. Your profit is what you earn from customers. So that's why whatever he invested, I subtracted that. So I arrived at the residual amount, that is the profit. So ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about single entry, incomplete records, if sales and purchases are not given to you, how to arrive at profit? Let me show you the format using BODMAS. So it looks like this. Capital at end, add drawings, minus capital at start, minus additional investment, you arrive at net profit, unadjusted net profit I'm calling it because adjustments are yet to be done. So now to make it more clear, let's say the information is like this. We have 2 years, 2019, 2020. 2019 amounts are taken as opening balances. 2020 amounts are taken as closing balances. So understand, if I add all the opening assets and subtract the opening liabilities, I will get capital at start, which is coming to 305. If you add all the non-current and current assets minus current and long-term liabilities, you get capital at start. Similarly, if you add all the assets, current and non-current, of the ending period, that is 2020, the current year, and you minus the liabilities, you will get capital at end, which is 389,000. This is capital at end. And what I have done, assets minus liabilities is equal to capital. So if I take opening assets minus opening liabilities, I'll get opening capital. If I take closing assets minus closing liabilities, I'll get closing capital. Once I plug in the numbers here in the format. So capital at end is 389,000. Drawings are given here, 80,000. Minus capital at start, which is 305. Minus means in brackets. And additional investment, which is 15,000. I also subtract additional investment, which is 15,000. So capital at end, add drawings, minus capital at start, minus additional investment will give you net profit, which is 149. Once we have calculated net profit, we are all set to prepare the statement of financial position, which is also referred to as statement of affairs in single entry. So statement of affairs or balance sheet or statement of financial position, you guys know already, it's pretty simple. We have assets on one side and we have equities here. Equity means liabilities plus capital. Assets, you can take all your current and non-current assets. Obviously, we're doing at the year end. This is the ending figures. So I'm taking the current assets, which is cash, accounts receivable, closing stock. Cash is 35, account receivable 45, closing stock 40. So 35,000, 45,000, 40,000. These are all my current assets. I also have non-current assets, which is furniture and building, 100 and 200,000. Furniture and building, 100 and 200,000. So if I add all these, 300, 40, 80, 420,000. Check the accuracy, please. This is your total assets. On the other side, we have liabilities and capital. All the current liability, long-term liabilities, and the capital. Have a look at this. So you can start with current liability. Current liability, you have accounts payable. So accounts payable, which is 1,000. You also have long-term liability as bank loan. So long-term liability is bank loan, which is 30,000. Now you have two choices. You can take capital at end directly, or you start with capital at start, which is 305, add net profit, which we calculated here, 149, add additional investment, which is 15,000, and then less drawings, which is 80,000. If you do all this, you will get capital at end, which is 389. And when you add all these figures, current liability, long-term liability, and capital at end, you should be getting 420 total equities. So guys, I hope you have understood this topic of single entry. Once again, I'm reminding you that my Patreon club is on. The link is appearing on the screen. I highly recommend that you join it so that you get the exclusive benefits which only members get. Regarding this video, if you have any queries, leave it in the comment section. I will respond to you. If you like this video, please share it with your dear and near ones so that others can also benefit. Thank you so very much for your precious time.